Good afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna read to you a story entitled Zacchaeus the Cheater from the book of my Bible friends, book 10. So, let's open it. This story is for all the children who love and like Bible stories. Zacchaeus the Cheater. Zacchaeus was a little man. He was a rich man, but no one in all the city of Jericho liked him. It wasn't because Zacchaeus was a little man that no one liked him. It wasn't because Zacchaeus was a rich man that no one liked him. It was because Zacchaeus was a cheater. Do you guys love a cheater? I think you don't. Every day, he sat beside the king's money box in a tax booth where people came to pay taxes. Every day he cheated the people who came to pay. Oh, that is Zacchaeus. So, this is Philip. This is the way Zacchaeus cheated. If Farmer Philip's tax was 1 silver coin, Zacchaeus charged him more, maybe as much as 2 silver coins. Farmer Philip frowned, but he had to pay. After Farmer Philip had gone on his way, Zacchaeus dropped one of the silver coins into the king's money box. Look at. And Zacchaeus dropped one of the other silver coins into King's money box, but the other silver coin he slipped into the pocket of his robe. You look at that one. Camel trains passed through Jericho carrying loads of salt and spice on their humpy backs. Always the owner of the camel train must halt his camels at the tax booth and pay tax money on their loads. And always, Zacchaeus charged too much tax money. Yes, Zacchaeus was a cheater. And no one at all likes a cheater. But one day, something happened that changed Zacchaeus' ways. Down on the riverbank, not far from Jericho, came John the Baptist to tell about Jesus and to tell about heaven. Zacchaeus joined the listening crowd at the river. As he listened, a wish began to grow in his heart. And the longer he listened, the bigger grew his wish. Zacchaeus wished he could change his cheating ways. But how could he change his ways? Repent, said John. Be sorry for your cheating. Pay back the money you have wrongly taken. Zacchaeus hurried away from the river. He would do as John said. He would find Farmer Philip. He would find the owner of the camel train and all the other people he had cheated. He would tell them he was sorry. He would promise to pay back the tax money that he had wrongly taken. Surely the people would believe him when he said, "I'm sorry, I cheated you." But when Zacchaeus said, "I'm sorry," not many people believed him. They told one another, "He always been a cheater. He'll always be a cheater." They shook their heads and turned away. What's more, no one could go to Zacchaeus' house. No one would eat with him. Poor Zacchaeus What should he do? If only he could see Jesus. Just to look on Jesus' face would help. And then, one sunshiny morning, a messenger came running into the city, shouting as he ran, "Ho, everyone! Jesus is coming up the road. Jesus will pass through Jericho." Men and women left their work. Boys and girls left their play. They ran to the street where Jesus would pass by. Zacchaeus didn't even take time to snatch up the king's money box. He ran with the crowd. But when Zacchaeus reached the gate where Jesus would enter Jericho, the narrow street was jammed with people. He was too short to see over their heads. No one would make room for him. Zacchaeus ran here. He ran there, trying to find a place where he could see. He must see Jesus. He had to see Jesus. But how could he? And then Zacchaeus remembered something. Zacchaeus remembered the sycamore tree that grew beside the city gate where Jesus would leave Jericho. The sycamore tree was old, so old its branches had grown far out over the street. Zacchaeus turned face about and raced down to the street ahead of the crowd. He reached the sycamore. Up he climbed. What matter if he tore his fine robe, if only he could see Jesus? Zacchaeus climbed out on the branch of sycamore. He could see the throng far up the street. People were shouting. Some waved palm branches. Zacchaeus shaded his eyes to see better. The man dressed in a white robe, around whom all the crowd pressed. The man must be Jesus. And those men, trying to make room for him to walk, they must be Jesus' disciples. Slowly, the crowd came nearer and nearer. Closer and closer and closer came the crowd toward the sycamore tree beside the gate. Now Zacchaeus could see Jesus' face. Never he had seen a face so kind. If only he could talk to Jesus, tell him he was sorry he had cheated. Tell him he would pay back all of the tax money that he had falsely taken. Would Jesus believe him? Or, like those others, would Jesus shake his head and run away? Zacchaeus leaned down to have a last look as Jesus walked under the sycamore tree. But Jesus didn't walk on. He stopped. He looked up. "Zacchaeus," he said, "make haste and come down, for today I must abide at thy house." Zacchaeus could hardly believe that he heard. Jesus knew my name? Jesus knew his name? Jesus was coming to his house? Jesus would eat with him? Zacchaeus scrambled down out of the tree. At the foot of the sycamore tree, Zacchaeus stood before Jesus. He made a promise. No, it's not a promise. He made two promises. "Lord," he said, "the half of all that I owned, I am giving to the poor. And if I have taken anything falsely, I am paying it back 4 times. Jesus held out his hand to Zacchaeus and believed him. So guys, if you with your playmates did the same way and you feel so sorry, you have to talk to Jesus. Jesus believes me. When beside my bed, I pray, "I'm sorry, Jesus, that I cheated in a game today." He holds out his hand as he did beneath the sycamore. "I believe you, child. Tomorrow, play, but cheat no more." That is Jesus. Jesus would believe. Jesus know our hearts and mind. That's all for today. Bye-bye, guys. Regards to Cindy and Abby out there in Hong Kong. Bye!